Well, hi everybody. Time for a radio test. We're going to test this Sony ICF2001, and we're going to test it against my always reliable PCR1000, which you can see here, the electronic my computer display. So a little awkward showing you both these things at the same time, because one is a physical radio and the other is a screen. And if I get this radio a little too close to the screen, then guess what you're listening to? You're listening to hash from the computer screen. In fact, even now it's surrounded by computer screen, so it doesn't seem to affect it terribly though. And here's how I've done the antenna. You can see the clip leads going to the antenna, and then this wire, and this wire comes over here and it connects to the antenna head. Here it is here. It just completely in parallel with the little radio here, which is the radio there. Same radio. And there's one in the middle. My ham radio is just on. It's not doing anything. It's not even connected to the antenna. It's just sitting there on. And so why don't you turn it off? Hey, that's a good idea. Okay, so we'll turn that off. Okay, so let's go back to the Sony here. You know, I just repaired the Sony. Guess what? It's still doing weird things. And the weird thing it's doing is when I switch it on, after it's been off for a while, it doesn't come to life. I've switched it on and off a few times. Now, I haven't done enough experimenting yet to really get the pattern straight, but while I was switching it on and off, kind of in a desperate act, you know, to get the radio going, I noticed that in fact the display was starting slowly to come in. And if I just left it on and let it sit for 3, 4, 5 seconds, as if the supply voltage was building up to a decent amount, suddenly the radio would come to life. So, you know, I may have been chasing an intermittent and a slow to respond situation, which is not something I've commonly encountered. It could have been I just didn't give things enough time to kind of, let's say, soak in when I was working on this radio. So the bottom line anyway is there may still be something more wrong with this radio, but it is working in the meantime. It's just not working 100%. Okay, so we're going to start off with both radios tuned to the same thing, and that's 15,170. You can see it on this display here. So, you know, there's no use looking at this radio. There's not much to see. So you've kind of seen how I have it arranged. And this radio is playing out of its speaker, and this radio is playing through my computer, of course. But I'm just going to slide you up onto this. Get a good look at the digital computer, and the rest of it you'll have to listen to me. So let's turn the volume up on the 2001. Okay, so you can hear what that sounds like. I'll disconnect the antenna here briefly. Definitely hear there's something coming in on the antenna. No doubt about that. Now we'll switch over to the PCR here. I just click the mute button right here. So this is a pretty weak signal. You can see from the chart here, there's almost nothing popping out of the noise. Yeah, often on this chart there are signals going right up to the top. There's nothing here. It's a poor day. What's this? Let's see what this is. Okay, so there's WWV. Interesting. I couldn't even get that earlier. So I'll dial that in on the ICF. And you see the signal strength is poor, and It's falling almost to the limit of this radio. Not quite though. Okay, so quiet that guy. Now we'll turn up the ICF. Interesting to watch the signal strength meters on both radios simultaneously here, so let's see if I can do that. That's enough. What I've noticed all along with the Sony is the signal strength meter is really generous. Now it's calibrated in numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it really has no real meaning. This thing's almost like a signal detector in the sense that if there's any reasonable signal there, it's going to show full strength. You can see this meter never even really made it past 8. This is not a very strong signal. You really want it up in the red here to get a good signal on these radios. So that's the situation. Let's compare the sound again. How they sound. So I'll switch back to the PCR. There we go. Very different sound. This is set to 6 kilohertz bandwidth. I'll narrow it. Now these radios might be more comparable. So we'll switch back. Let's wait till the top of the minute goes by. He's going to talk. We'll switch now. Watching this signal strength meter and listening to the ICF. No problem with that. Now I can hear it with my ears in amongst the noise here. Switch back. So I think you can see clearly the PCR1000 is doing better. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll go up to 20, and just by some chance is WWV coming in at 20. So dial in 20 here. Well, I don't think I hear it. Yeah, I don't think I hear it there. And there's nothing down here at all. Whoops. There's nothing down here at all. Oh, a little tiny bit. So, you know, signal's really weak today. Let's try 10, just in case. The time of day here is, it's fairly early morning still. What time is it exactly? It's 8:30 in the morning. Okay, so we're right at 10. Oh, there's some strong signals around here, so we'll check them out. Okay, there it is at 10. Let's dial in 10 on the Sony. Okay, Sony signal strength is 100%. We'll switch now. So they're all quiet. Here comes the ICF, Sony. The signal strength indicator is full. I don't hear any WWV. switch back now? You can see the whole noise floor. Well, you know, that could just be the AVC doing that. Let's try this signal right here. This one right here. Oh, that's terrible. Let's try this one down here. That's some kind of data signal. Okay, let's try 17 megahertz. There's another terrible signal there. Like the audio is terrible. Maybe it's because I have it set to 3K. Let's widen it up. It doesn't sound right, does it? Let's try this one. Well, go back. It's the strongest signal on here, so let's go with this guy. 17595. I'll dial that in on the ICF. 17595. Oh, it's terrible conditions to listen to shortwave, isn't it? Here's the Sony. The signal strength indicator lights, the bottom one is flickering a little bit. Now we're getting 3 lights and gone again. I will switch now. Wow, it really has a terrible sound to it. Here's another signal right beside it. Let's try that one. That doesn't sound right either. Okay, let's put that on the Sony 17580. Yeah, this Sony has really no way to tune it up and down the band easily. It's got a couple of up-down buttons, but they're terrible to use. So anyway, here's the Sony. So you can definitely hear there's a voice there, and you can even maybe get a hint of what language or what type of language it is. But as for actually listening to it, even if you knew the language, I don't think you could. Now let's compare it on this one. Marginally better, and again, there's something really terrible about the quality of that broadcast. I'm starting to wonder if my PCR isn't working well. Let's go down around 15, because that's really where we should find some strong signals. Up here. So here's some strong ones. Good. We can try some of these. So we'll try this guy. 15205. I just check a few here. Okay, let's try this. 15,350. 15,350. Okay, so I have that dialed in on the Sony also. Okay, we'll quiet the PCR. Here comes the Sony. It's lighting 4 of the 5 lights, suggesting there's a good signal here, but as you can hear, it's not resolving much. You know, I kind of wish I had my big SP600 going here, because the sound quality on both these radios is kind of crappy, and I'm just wondering, is it just, you know, transistor radio sound? I don't know. Here's a strong signal. Let's try this one here, okay? Relatively strong signal. Okay, we'll switch. Now that one was intelligible, I'm sure. Okay, you can clearly hear the person talking, and you could probably identify the language or group of languages. I don't think you could understand what he was saying, though, even if you spoke the language. Now let's go back to the PC. Well, I'm going to stop at this point because the results are very, very consistent. We're always hearing the PCR marginally better. In some cases, the PCR is producing a signal that you can listen to and understand that, yes, that's a weak radio station. At the same time, the Sony is hardly producing anything you wouldn't even hear or know that it's there. So in terms of resolving weak signals, it looks like the PCR1000 is winning. Now again, these tests I'm doing, you can see how I've connected the antennas. I've showed you that. And you know, arguably there's something unfair about how these antennas are arranged. And the argument would go like this. Jim, you don't really know for sure what kind of signal you're feeding to that Sony. And that's kind of true. I've seen what I've done too. I've seen how the wires are connected. All looks good to me. I believe both radios are receiving relatively similar antenna signals. I don't believe they're significantly different. And even if they were, one a little stronger than the other, it shouldn't really matter that much in these radios. So a little disappointing on both of these, in fact. Most of the things I tuned in couldn't really hear them clearly, and I'm not sure why that is. These are not very strong signals. Really strong signals will reach the top of this chart and go up into the red area. I don't think we got a single signal that made it up into the red on my signal strength meter there. So, you know, not the best day, not the best time of day to be doing this. Or is it? Maybe this is the best time of day. We do want weak signals to check these radios out. So, hey, last thing, let's try a little AM. We'll go to a local AM station. Oops, I'm going way off here, way off. Let's try again. Okay, we won't try that. That's that's just a terrible pile of noise there. I think I'm going to set up for another test, and I'm going to compare. I'm going to turn on my SP600 and see what's going on with that. So I think I'll do another video on that. And we'll see you soon. Oh, well, bottom line. This particular Sony ICF2001 not showing really good performance. I would be somewhat dissatisfied with trying to use this radio. Because it's I didn't really receive anything on this radio today that you could sit and listen to. It was all pretty fringy stuff. So, but let's try it. We'll try it. We'll give it a little more time too. We'll try it with the SP600 and see what we end up with there. Thanks for watching. See you later.